Okay, we're live.
Are we, though?
View and pin products from your catalog. I don't got a catalog Facebook.
You better get a catalog.
goodness.
Sears Roebuck, preferably.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah, why
Am
are
I taller
yours
than-
goes taller
I
than
like
mine?
this. Except my Tootsies can't quite touch the... Where's the thing? Going down? Oh, no, it's too low.
Oh, I'm sure this is very entertaining for the masses.
We've got a new set, folks. Sort of.
Sort of. It's the same
we
room.
rearranged. Same room, different perspective
Slightly.
and elements.
Slightly.
We got a new table.
And a backdrop.
Yeah.
And
A ball of
selenite.
selenite. Well, we're back at it, folks. See how many times I can say the word.
There you go.
folks.
First yawn,
Gosh.
folks.
We are back at it and going to be doing Facebook Lives every Monday, 9 o'clock. Except in 2 weeks, I'll be in Florida. So it will
And you're
be
just going to have to
at
deal
noon.
with that.
I think we rescheduled for noon that day because I get back at like 8:30 in the morning. I'm going to be the one yawning that day.
Why don't you just come straight in here, get it set up?
I'll do it from the airport.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Why?
How would I be there?
No, I'll do so like picture in picture, we'll zoom it and
No.
live from
No. Too complex.
where am I going? Fort Lauderdale Airport. Anyways, oh, this rotates too.
Yeah, I know.
So if I want coffee, I could just whoop.
But you don't.
Oh.
Because
I
it's
could, though.
mine.
Oh, well, okay. Thought we were being sharing and caring. Anyways, today we are talking about, what is it? Now I lost it. Endless possibilities.
Yeah.
Being open to endless possibilities.
Opening up to endless.
Opening up to endless possibilities. You're reading it. It's on the title of the Facebook Live. So that's what we're focusing on today. Do you want to kick us off?
Oh, boy, do I. Wasn't expecting that. So, opening up to endless possibilities.
With Paul Norris.
Don't say that. I guess generally we wanted to talk about the concept of what it really builds from where we stress out the most is like trying to find what we want, and when we don't get it, we get frustrated or angry, or the negative emotions start to come out. And if we remain in a state of openness to these possibilities, we can find ourselves much more at peace. And this is akin to the whole living in the present moment thing. It also involves acceptance on a lot of levels. Sometimes we don't see the blessings that are sitting right with us at every moment.
Would you say that the possibilities we're focusing on are simply a regurgitation of what we know that we've already experienced, but what we're comfortable with? Like, it's not new information. It's, I know that this has worked for me in the past, but then it went away, so now I want it again.
Or you've seen it work for other people,
yeah.
Where it becomes a programming that happens, much like advertising and the media and things like that.
Disney.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about Disney a lot.
I was thinking about Coca-Cola.
Okay. Tell me about Coca-Cola. Or you were just thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm thirsty.
You're just thirsty
for a Coke.
You're just thinking
Just
about
want a Coke.
With Disney, the ingraining in, at least I would say maybe many of the females, particularly in my generation, grew up watching these movies where it was, oh, Prince Charming comes. Somebody's coming to save you from your turmoil. And that's the story. And we see, oh, well, it's real because it's on TV. But it's like that,
Just like when Bambi's mom was shot.
Yeah.
That was real.
Don't go out in the woods as a deer. by a hunter or whatever. Anyways, but there's so many different aspects of what's in our society that imprint upon us ideas that feel like they could be real or possible. Not to say that what we see can't happen, but I think in the openness of being in the present moment, being open to any possibility, we allow the universe to unfold with a sense of newness and wonder and awe versus a stamp of something we've seen.
Well, a lot of times it comes down to the output of energy, and like what we're offering the world is what we get in return. And if we're living in a state of fear because of, I don't have this, or that program's not working for me, or I'm upset about so and so's behavior, that's what we're going to get back. I actually saw something recently that was called the elevator something, and yeah, I'm going to get real technical here. The elevator something. But you imagine yourself pushing the button on an elevator, and the door opens up, and there's one other person inside, and you enter the elevator, and you treat them warmly and kindly, and in turn they treat you with the same back. Or you get in and you treat them with disdain or disgust, and you're going to get the same back. Or if you treat them in no way, shape, or form, you're going to get the same back. Silence means silence in the end. And this has been like psychologically proven that 98% of interactions happen that way. So put that in the perspective of your daily life, not with interactions with people, but with your interaction with your environment. And if you're going to go out into the world mad and angry, you're going to get mad and angry back. And if you're going to go out into the world happy and peaceful, you're going to get happy and peaceful back. And the 2% is so minuscule something to risk that the likelihood is that your life is going to improve significantly by behaving this way.
It's like we're all learning to be energy workers, because that's what I hear you talking about. It's energy, and we get to create the energy inside of us, and then that gets reflected in the external world. So if we want peace, we don't say, I need this will give me peace, because in that moment we're feeling that sense of loss or longing, versus I am at peace right now. What is it within me that feels peaceful? My breath feels peaceful. This part of my body feels peaceful. This thought about what I'm seeing around me feels peaceful. And then that creates that cord of energy out into the universe where things begin to reorchestrate to mirror that peace. And I think that's where we can get caught, is thinking that something else is going to solve the problem that we have. And I'm finding that's not the case. And this morning you saw me, you came in here and I'm all in my tizzy and trying to get this computer program to work. And
she was in quite the tizzy.
Simultaneously, I'm observing the lower thinking mind be in that tizzy and think nothing's working right. And it wasn't just the computer program. It's like I was triggered because I had this view of all of these things in my life not working right, not fitting, and nothing's fitting, and blah, 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 blah. And that's the story. So I'm observing myself, and then I took a pause and remembered that I get to create the narrative of this moment. And the narrative that's cycling is things aren't working right or the way that I want. So changing that, everything is happening with ease for me. Everything is going to fall into place the way that is best for me to experience today.
Everything comes as it comes for a reason.
Yeah. And that's we put the word resistance as we were kind of talking through this. And that's that resistance that comes up inside of us. Whenever we feel agitation, frustration, anger, we're resisting reality. And we're insane creatures. I say that a lot. If we were to pause long enough to look around and realize that we are these living beings on this planet.
Speak for yourself.
And we get to breathe and we get to experience energy and this thing we call love, whatever that is. Yet we put this cloud over our vision that, well, that's not good enough. Right? And
well, a lot of times it's because, and maybe this isn't apropos, but we try to create the world around us, and I think that through that creation, we are creating from a place generally of fear or upset, or like when we talk about even let's meditate for peace. We're doing that because we've noticed that things aren't peaceful around us, and that makes us worried for the world. Yeah. And so we're taking that energy into that process with us instead of just releasing and letting go. And, or, sometimes we ask the universe for things, and when they're given to us, we reject them. And I think that is a dangerous precedent to set, because at some point the universe is just going to be like, well, if there's no gratitude and you're not accepting of my gifts anyway, then
screw you.
Screw you, buddy. I've had that conversation with the universe before.
Yeah, and I think when I meet resistance, this is what I've prayed for. And what I've prayed for is happening. I'm in the process of receiving whatever it is that I think I want. So if I want peace, let's just say generally, I want peace, and I'm not living currently this peaceful life, there's got to be an unwinding process for us to let go of what is disrupting our peace. And there can be grief with that. There could be frustration with that. There could be doubt with that. How am I going to move forward if this element is not a part of my life anymore? Because this is all I know. I mean, that could be leaving a job and the financial circumstances change. How am I going to move forward with my financial circumstances changing? But we asked for peace, and that's exactly what the universe is giving us. So I think the surrender is asking for what we know we want, and then letting go and observing the process of receiving what it is that we want. And to tie in what you were saying too, when we're asking for what we want, are we asking from a place of fear? I am afraid of this, so I'm going to ask for this. And I think when that happens, what I've noticed is the universe kind of more forcefully allows me to face my fear. And I've manifested my worst case scenarios because of that. And then in facing those worst case scenarios, I see, oh, that's okay. And actually I'm realizing I don't want that, which sets me up to ask genuinely what I do want from a place of simply wanting to experience love in a particular way.
Yeah, I mean, most times when we're asking for things from the universe is because we feel like we're lacking something, and that creates a fear or discomfort inside of us. And that doesn't mean the universe still doesn't say, okay, here, see how it happens with what that is. And I think that's important. I think it's an important aspect to be grateful for the opportunity to see whether or not what you feared or don't fear and what you want or don't want impact your existence. It boils down to light and dark, you know. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
They don't exist. They are one thing.
And can we appreciate what we are given without having experienced the polarity?
Right.
For me, having a health crisis and not being able to use my body in the way that average people could use their body, now I feel more grateful when I do get to do certain things, like going for a run or a bike ride, or I gave my son a piggyback ride. There was a time when
there went your back.
He was half the weight, couldn't do it. But I get to do that now. And so if I wouldn't have had that experience of loss of ability with my body, I know I wouldn't appreciate the blessing of being in this body today.
And I think if we each individually sat down and went through our lives, it's a series of polar shifts. I mean, it's us learning from the positive, quote unquote, and negative aspects of a certain pole. You're talking about your health and your physical well-being there. And then there's people who have gone through life completely destitute, but also made tons of money later on, and then back to destitution. And then it can be as simple as having food one day and not having it the next. You know, that the polarity exists in every interaction that we have with our world around us. And if you really go through your life and see the shifts in poles from moment to moment, and longer term as well, you're going to have a full understanding. But it's when we disregard something, like say you were destitute, but now you have money. Now you disregard the part of you that was destitute, then you're not learning any lessons and you're not moving forward. You're just in another place that's just as miserable as when you had nothing.
It's like when I hear judgment against, like with that, this to use the money example, when somebody doesn't have money and that was a really difficult time, then they get money, and then there's judgment cast on those that don't have money, right? That represents fear. I see this, I'll use maybe a more relatable example is, I hear it all the time, those of us who have entered on the spiritual path, and I hear words of judgment cast on those who may not be as spiritually evolved, being judged against those that believe themselves to be more spiritually evolved. And this was something that I was awakening to within myself. That's self-righteousness. That is, for me, that was fear, that in knowing I could easily fall back down there. Not only that, but it represents that I am still in that place because I'm afraid of experiencing that level of, use your word destitute, but emotional destitute or spiritual destitute. That's just fear. And so when we judge against something, it's not saying that we are better than, it's saying we are still connected to this part of ourselves that believes that this is real. In the present moment, it doesn't matter what we have in this physical realm or what we think is spiritual and not spiritual. All that matters is that we are able to be present and okay with what is. And that's you spoke of the polarity and the up and down. I don't have it on the board. I erased it. I had you guys can't see it anyways, but maybe you've seen me draw this, but the sine wave. and this up and down of the highs and lows of life. But then there's that median line that shoots right through it. That's sanity. Insanity is believing that we are these highs and lows. So even if life is going really well and we identify that this is life, this is great, everything's going the way that I want, well, guess what? It's going to come crashing down again, because we are moving forward and evolving. That's a part of this process. But we have the ability, if we train ourselves to connect with it, is to be in that state of homeostasis regardless of what the external circumstances are showing, or more so what our reactions are to the external circumstances.
Yeah, because the external circumstance is just what it is.
It's just matter.
If you take yourself out of it, it just is part of existence.
Yeah.
But it's our interpretation of that that causes different periods of up and down, or happiness or sadness, or and coming back to the point of like the judgmental or self-righteousness is it's really difficult for me to, inside of myself at least, because I'm not going to say I've never been judgmental, but inside of myself I just accept oftentimes that wherever somebody is in their life, and it doesn't have to be about the person or the spiritual path, that's just where they are. I can see that, and maybe they never get out of that point, and maybe they do, and it doesn't have any real impact on me whether they do or don't. All I can do is continue to love people as they are. And so, I mean, like, you see this a lot in religious fights, like the arguments between different religions, or the wars that have happened. At least on the lower levels of these fights are people who are very self-righteous about who God is, what God is, where God is, how to worship God, versus another person who has a different set of beliefs on that, even though they may be very minorly different. That can be the end of the world for two people. But what does it really have to do with the other person if another person chooses to worship in a different way, or think or call something different? Like, we're all okay with foreign languages have different words for things. Why can't we be okay with, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. We use the word interpretation, and which we use the word a lot of times perspective. Interpretation is the thought process of something happening, or how it's happening, or why it's happening. And we can interpret a situation in an infinite amount of ways. And we tend to, because we're creatures of habit, and we have these ingrainings, these samskaras that, you know, are in our minds. These interpretations tend to become fixed when we're solely operating from the thinking mind. When we begin to operate from the higher mind, we can see infinite possibilities as to why something is the way that it is. Not as a way to figure out a situation, because again, that's the thinking mind, but as a way to be in awe of how vast this universe is, and what is this person seeing, or how are they interpreting a situation versus how am I interpreting or seeing a situation? Can they really both be, like, can there really be one right and one wrong in this universe? And if we look at animals, I love looking at animals and seeing how they interact. And there was a groundhog and a squirrel hanging out in the backyard the other day. Two completely different creatures, different, you know, I'm sure personalities and ways of moving and all of that. Yet they're just hanging out. They're coexisting. And if they were given voices and opinions, that probably would mean that they wouldn't hang out, right? Like, I mean, there's that potential of that. But
or they just wouldn't have anything to say to each other.
They wouldn't have anything in common or think that, yeah. But life breathes through all of us. And who am I, who is anybody else to say that one person's ideas, perspectives are greater or less than anybody else's when we are simply reacting to the environment that we've lived through? So there's this human aspect that simply unfolds. I see it as math. Everything have 1 + 1 is 2. Dad left when we were young, that set us on this like path, and then all these other circumstances happened to lead us to where we are now, right? Everything happened to lead us to where we are now. Simultaneously, we have this observer, this consciousness that gets to watch all of this unfold. And I really see it as this magnificent, like looking out, if you've been on like a mountaintop and you're looking out, you're not attached to anything, right? You're not worried about that tree over there that maybe looks a little wonky, like it's going to fall down. You can't even see, that squirrel going up the tree. Everything is just open and vast and beautiful and blended, harmonious, working together.
Not only are you not aware of all the bears that could eat you, you're also incredibly unaware of all the poop they've dropped on the ground.
Yeah. Sure, that's a lot. Is that what you think about when you go walk in the woods?
Yeah,
you're just like,
mostly,
here's
Mostly
all
I'm
this
thinking
poop
about
I'm
poop.
walking on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we realize that we're interpreting a situation one way,
Step back.
And how do we choose to interpret a situation that feels right and good? Not from a place of fear, not from just what we think we know, but what feels good, what feels in line with who we know ourselves to be becoming, which is loving.
Well,
being.
I mean, if we take it back to the topic specifically of being in the flow, we just get to observe it as what it is, not and have zero care or judgment or opinion about what it is. Just see it for what it is. And that brings a hell of a lot of peace compared to trying to pick it all apart. You're wasting time.
Yeah. And there's a fluidity that happens in the observation that because we're not clinging to life being one way or another way, I see it as God is present in this situation, then that situation dissolves and moves into another situation. God's just as present there as God was in this last situation. When we cling, we can miss out on the presence of God, of love, divine, in the present moment because we're still thinking about that last moment. So that, for me, I'm finding is my work right now, recognizing the presence of God, the presence of love in every given
whatever
situation.
you're aware of is an awareness of God. And knowing that that exists only in the current space you're in.
It really, what I find most challenging is in that state of flow, we release preferences of how we want life to be from the human standpoint.
Right. Which can be scary for a human because we were raised to want and need things.
And survival is based on life being a certain way.
Right.
In that openness, life can transform in really incredible ways that we can't perceive when we're operating from past thought, from memory, or what we've seen to be true for other people that looks really good. And I say looks really good because we can have a story about somebody else's life. Oh, they're doing this way, and it's so. I've got people telling me that. I have people tell me I can't picture you angry. You know. Of course I get angry. I get angry a lot of the times. I don't always show it because I've worked with that, but it's there, and it's definitely there. But we have these interpretations of people's lives, and we think, oh, their life is so great. I want that because they seem to be at peace.
We're only seeing the surface in those moments.
And we're all mad, and we all have problems and struggle and all of that. So surrendering all of these thoughts, being open, allows us to be in that flow of life unfolding in really incredible ways that we can't even think of in the moment. And it just makes the journey, I think, it wonder and awe, like I can't explain it. I know I didn't necessarily create this. I'm here for the ride, and I'm grateful that life has
created
unfolded.
by this.
Yeah. And I get to be the one to experience it.
Right.
Yeah. And so do you. And so do you.
And so do you.
Thanks for watching, children. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Not today.
All right. Can we close with meditation? We used to do that.
We used to do that.
Please join us in taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Feel the presence of your body in this experience. Feel your breath. Feel how the energy moves within you, not labeling, not creating a story or even interpreting what is happening. Just simply observe. Observe the harmony, the peace, the balance of the highs and lows, all happening in perfect working order for us to experience ourselves in the most incredible way. Together we uplift our grateful hearts to the divine loving presence of this universe. Thank you for this experience. We'll close by together taking a deep breath in. Release as one. And thus concludes our program.
That's all, folks.
Any last words?
What do I want on my tombstone?
Pepperoni and cheese. That joke's so old. Although
quit bringing it
we've got new
up.
followers now, so they actually
Yeah,
don't know.
that's true.
They don't know that we used to make that joke
Man.
all the time.
Maybe we'll have to bring Windschuler's bar cheese back.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyways, cut. Thank you.